Alright, what the hell is going on with this team, because I already forgot. I think we have the 2018 draft coming up, and a decision to make about do we draft someone, and if we do, it's probably going to be a point guard, because Elfrid Payton might never be a starter quality player, so the guy we take might end up being better than him. That was some terrible spacing because Biyombo was standing there. Or do we end up trading the pick? Well, there was a couple options that I had to explore, and I had to do a whole lot of looking around every single team's roster as Peyton misses a three-pointer. For the point guards, if we were going to draft one, it seems like there would be like two that we could potentially get. One of them would be Trayvon Duval, who's an athlete and a playmaker who just can't shoot to save his life, and that would be the one thing he really has to improve on. And then the other one would be Jalen Hands, who is also an athlete, but not as much of a playmaker as Duval. Maybe a little better of a shooter, but still not that great, especially from three, not that great. And he's really not much of a playmaker. He's more of just a scorer inside, so in between those two, Duval sounds like a better option to me. But then I went through and I looked at all the young point guards who I could potentially trade for, and pretty much all of them are free agents right now, about to be re-upped on their current teams, which means I can't trade for any of these guys. So we're in a really awkward position where we're kind of forced to use the pick almost. Now I did head over to one team, which is the Lakers, because I thought maybe we could trade for Clarkson or D'Angelo Russell. Unfortunately, they didn't actually get their pick in 2K, which means they didn't draft a guy like Lonzo Ball, which means it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for them to trade away either of those guys because they wouldn't be getting much back. So the NBA draft is here. What did we decide to do? Well, the Bulls went with DeAndre Ayton, who's supposed to be a big deal at the 5. I'm going to do a little bit of suspense and not actually show you the menu screen. So you're going to see the 11th pick selected, but now you don't really know who it was. It's Duval, screw it. There was some suspense for you, I guess. If we look at how the draft went, Colin Sexton went all the way down to 7, so we actually weren't too far away from getting him. Some small free agency things before we see Duval and a couple of the young guys in action. Josh Richardson is coming back. I also wanted to sign Mike Muscala because you saw that bad spacing that Biyombo gave us. He's not going to play too much, but it's a nice little extra thing. And Aaron Gordon is back for just the qualifying offer, and next season he'll be an unrestricted free agent. And we're going to have to throw like $25 million at him, so that's going to be cool. As for some training camps, we got to get Peyton shooting the ball. As you can see, it still is not that great, but he's actually showing some life on mid-range jumpers at the moment. I mean, we have him for like another 3 years, but obviously he's like the one guy you're looking at like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we have work to do on Jason Tatum and Aaron Gordon too, but I can kind of see the finish line with those guys. I don't know if we're ever going to reach it with Elfrid Payton. And speaking of Aaron Gordon as well as Jason Tatum, you know I had to get both of these guys into the training camps, mainly just for defense, as Aaron Gordon got his perimeter defense just a little bit more of a boost. Same thing for Jason Tatum, because we can't just ignore that side of the floor. I also had to make one move. I had to trade DJ Augustine for an expiring contract because, like I mentioned, we are about to be paying Aaron Gordon and guys, so now Teletovich's money will be off the books, whereas Augustine still had one more year left. Just managing money, you know, trying to get rid of some of the bad contracts that this team had on him from when we took this thing over. Now it's time to look at some of these young guys in action, specifically Trayvon Duval, Gary Trent, who we drafted in round 2, Siakam at the power forward spot, and Marquise Bolden at the center position. I don't know why I'm trying to drive in with Duval right now with how bad that spacing was. You call the 5 out, and suddenly everybody gets the hell out of the way. What's going to happen here with Bolden rolling to the rim? That's very good. A good old alley-oop for a center. That's the ideal type of big man in today's game, and I was actually looking at some of Marquise Bolden's defensive ratings. They're all kind of like in the high 60s or low 70s, but he's kind of okay in all of them, whereas like Bismack Biyombo is great in some defensive areas, but he's really bad in others. So Bolden has potential to be quite a good defender for us, but it's going to take some time at that center position. That was some pretty bad defense by someone. I think that's the one guy we don't care about at the 3 spot. For this little summer league thing, the offense isn't very complex. It's mainly just trying to do stuff with Duval while getting a screen from a big dude. To be fair, that's pretty much all I ever call anyway, but I'm still going to tell it to you here in this summer league setting. And this drive goes pretty damn well as Duvall finishes at the rim. He's okay in that area. He's not like Russell Westbrook or John Wall statuses of finishing at the rim like a crazy person, but he is very athletic and not too far behind those guys in terms of athleticism, so he could grow to being that sort of an inside finisher. But unfortunately, the jumper is a real thing. It looked like I was falling asleep with him on defense for a moment there. I definitely fell asleep defensively that time as I didn't even jump on the Buddy Hield shot contest. And Siakam, I really wish you would have finished that one off because, I mean, ideally you want big guys who can finish around the rim, but you are going to get a second opportunity, and unfortunately you messed it up again. Okay, Siakam's off the team. No, I'm not going to say that one. I still like his potential as a shooter and as a, defensive player and all that good stuff. Trayvon playing some defense. I jacked down the shot blocking for us, and we didn't get like 900 blocks this time, but, Duvall still got that one. That was good, showing a real ability to beat guys off the dribble and attack inside, and then good things actually come of it. So that's a good sign. I think he has Kevin Durant's free throw release. His free throws are also at like 1 or 72 or something like that. So that's going to need some work. Definitely not a natural shooter, Trayvon Duvall. And when I look at all the mock drafts, he's usually around like number 11, so I guess it actually makes sense that we would get him. I wasn't liking Siakam earlier, but I loved what he did that time, jetting up the floor, finishing the alley-oop, and then I got bored and stopped playing. So, I mean, this is where we're at. Our roster is not going to be too much different going into next season, but with a point guard who can show some competition to Elfrid Payton, we're probably going to be making a decision there, and I don't know if it's going to take too long. Maybe Duvall would take over the starting point guard job. Let's have to see.